What's going on YouTube? Hayden back making another brand new Crypto TV episode. In today's video, we're going to be talking about XRP, Ethereum, Bitcoin, Litecoin, as well as some stuff that I really have just started to get into and involved with on the channel here. More so the past couple of days. As you can see right now, we were discussing about Trump warning about obviously national debt not sustainable and the the Trump zero interest and negative interest rates in regards to the federal government and a couple of things like that. So I wanted to continue today's episode. We might get into a little more than I had planned for, and today's episode might be a little bit longer, but do bear with. I think it is a very interesting topic, and I do think you guys will be willing to hear it, and I would love to hear your opinion in the comments down below on these topics to discuss. We're also going to be, like I said, discussing the interesting pattern forming within XRP, which did manage to break above its descending triangle, and it's now trending on top of that, which is obviously an okay sign. We've seen it in the past within crypto. We're talking about Bitcoin within its major descending fractal, talk about Litecoin, things like that. We're also going to be discussing a couple articles. We're going to be discussing this Financial Times article that I have not seen in quite some time. I'd like to talk about the forecast of predicting potentially a US recession, how that could affect cryptocurrency, and then obviously the national debt clock, which hopefully you guys are familiar with. If not, this will shed some light on some pretty crazy things. Otherwise, guys, if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications. Remember, we do a giveaway for a free $25 every single, or free $25 of Bitcoin every single Friday. All you have to do to enter is comment hashtag CryptoTV, leave a comment, and make sure you're subscribed. Otherwise, let's jump into today's episode. So guys, why am I talking about the US recession, or potentially a US recession, and potentially some big moves and interest rate droppings in the near future? Well, we have to consider when cryptocurrency was made. As you guys know, Bitcoin was specifically made in 08-09, back when the recession hit, the stock market recession hit the US, and we had these major outcries, and that's when crypto was pretty much developed to basically answer a solution like that, giving everybody a universal payment method all across the world, kind of taking the hands and the power out of big businesses and big banking industries and putting it more into the people, which obviously carries over a lot of responsibility as towards you are now your own bank. But it does cut out big players like that do take advantage of, our money. So that's why I do want to discuss with you guys today more stuff about this US recession potentially hitting the market. And then we'll go into the aspects of how this could potentially affect the bull run within Bitcoin, XRP, and a lot of the other altcoins, because we're kind of ready and set for this big pump to potentially happen. Now, I do want to start off with this article, which basically talks about how a US recession could fuel a new cryptocurrency boom and bust. Basically, it is talking about the uncertainty about the future of US-China trade, and it could send the US into a recession. It could spur a bull run in cryptocurrencies, but while the shift may provide investors with a temporary safe haven, it may likely lead to financial ruin, more so within the United States. And I feel like this is something, considering I'm a college student, that we don't really talk about here, and a lot of college students don't really pay attention to. And I felt like that would be something to start, poking my nose in and discussing what exactly this could be doing, because it is the real world at the end of the day. When I graduate college, I look for a mortgage potentially to buy a house, to get a loan for a car, or just take out a personal loan. Depending on the interest rates and how the money's doing, is it worth buying bonds? Is it worth buying stocks? Is it worth taking out mortgages? Things like that. Fixed interest rates, fluctuating interest rates, all these different variables that would lead to potentially having more money at the end of the day. So back in the early days of Bitcoin, prophecy took hold that a major crypto would surge and would accompany the next stock market bust. Far from being an irrelevant artifact, this prediction is tied to other pieces of crypto folklore. So basically, they're discussing like if the inflation on the US dollar does increase, crypto would stay somewhat of a universal price. Yes, we would see fluctuation, but it would still be widely accepted. So if the US dollar was similar to Venezuela, and and the inflation rate was by 10 million or something like that, and their Venezuelan dollar or whatever it is worth absolutely nothing, it's not going to trade over well with the US and things like that. But if we had a universal currency that you had invested in and used, you would be able to use that to pay for things in other places and go over to other countries with those funds, and you would be pretty much safe. So there's just very interesting differences that could be that have been thought of within potentially a recession or inflation rates, climbing up. So though crypto enthusiasts disagree about which is the true coin, which is probably Bitcoin, and honestly probably a lot of them, it's important that folktales is not their accuracy, but that a lot of people believe in them. And if someone thinks crypto prices will rise when markets tank, then the rational thing to do would be the first sign of a recession is to obviously load up on a preferred cryptocurrency. When enough people act on this impulse, they can move prices up. Obviously, crypto markets are still relatively small compared to equity markets, things of that size. But, history suggests that even a small bump during a major stock market downturn would be enough to rekindle the hype and help to drive the record-breaking run that we had in 2017. So obviously you see that everybody is aware of crypto. It's an option, it's a possibility, and that's why I wanted to be the first to discuss options like this on the channel here. So, and it ends with, regardless of what crypto enthusiasts and the hype machines say, keep this in mind. If your investment strategy is to learn as you go, then a bull run is the most dangerous time to start buying into cryptocurrencies, and that's a great opportunity as well. Obviously, don't buy in on a bull run. We're going to expect to see retracement. That means get involved now. Pay attention now. This would eventually open doors up to future investment opportunities. You'd understand markets, and you'd be buying at the bottom of the potential bull markets and not at the top, riding the wave back down, which a lot of people did do in 2017 and lost a lot of money. Now, I do want to continue on to an article then, which talks about this U.S. forecast predicts barely any growth in the U.S. stocks next year and a big drop if there's a recession. So if obviously a recession does happen, stocks are going to drop. People are going to pull out and probably leave the U.S., which would be interesting too. But they're predicting that we haven't really seen much return for 2020. This is prediction. This is expected markets. Obviously, they use a lot of different formulas and patterns to figure out how this would affect 2020 next year. You can see 2010 to 2018 was realized earnings. This is over an 8-year period, I believe. You can see which ones are going to be fairly close. You'll notice the U.S. is practically like shit hit the fan. 1% compared to what we've seen over 13%. You compare that to the UK, which is doing absolutely phenomenal. Even Japan and Germany, which also look okay. I mean, it's interesting that we have sovereign bonds right here. This is doing fairly underdeveloped, but Japan, UK, they're doing quite well. Their markets and their economy are doing quite well. We know that obviously our GDP has slowed down. Trade is we're at a trade deficit. So there's a lot of issues to discuss. And I thought this would really open the mind for people who don't really pay attention or really dig into the US debt and don't really understand or actually get to see it. This is it. This is everything right here. And hopefully this answers a couple of you guys' questions. But as you guys can see, this is the U.S. national debt right now, $23 trillion. We have U.S. federal income or U.S. tax revenue, which is $3.4 trillion. We have an income tax revenue. We have revenue per citizen, which that comes out to revenue per taxpayer. A ton of these things which does go into account. And we have to consider that we do not make enough to pay off the amount of debt that we owe to China, to Germany, and to other big Japan, and some other really big companies. It's just crazy. Let's see what New York is, considering that's where I'm from. Let's see. So that doesn't look as bad. We do have a GDP. Obviously, there is a lot, or the debt's a lot lower, I believe, than what we're actually bringing in. So that's obviously a good thing. Let's check out the world debt clocks and see how we rank. So that's pretty interesting too, that obviously the US ranks much higher than all the other ones. Even though we have a higher GDP, it seems like we do have the most debt. So it comes equally, but we do rank at the top, which is something to consider. So take that into consideration, guys. And it's pretty crazy that some of these countries can be fully paid off by, really big partners. Well, that's not true necessarily, but, certain multi-billionaires can literally pay off all the debt of certain countries, which blows my mind. But to continue this, into discussions on XRP, Ethereum. So when taking all that into consideration, you have to understand that we're looking at cryptocurrency, XRP, Ethereum, Bitcoin, Litecoin into very, 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 very microeconomic standpoints. We're looking at things very, very, very close up. We're looking at days on the 4-hour, on the daily. We're looking at things very, very, very small. And I do this so that we can get a general understanding and make money off a day-to-day basis. But if you really wanted to, you could look at prices from a monthly standpoint and try to graph monthly movements, which you can see right here. If you look at XRP, you'll notice there is some sort of descending triangle in play right here. and to consider that we could see a bull run. It could happen, but that would take a year, 2 years to happen in terms of long-term growth. It could be a positive, but that's not as interesting to everybody that enjoys watching videos. To hear that we're going to shoot up in 3 or 4 years or 5 years, not many people are that interested in here. So we discuss short-term plays to make short-term profit. It's not a long-term gain for people that invest in Roth IRAs or pensions that sit for 40 years or 30 years. This is a little bit different. So looking at this in the short term, we know that we did see a pop above the downtrend, and there's a really good chance we're going to see us climb down on this downtrend right here that's in white. And what I've seen in the past happen is eventually we are going to stray away, because now we don't really have any sort of resistance at the top here. So it's merely following other cryptocurrencies before we see any sort of switch to the upside. So there are possibilities like that to consider before we swing all the way up here, retesting potentially the high-low MMA. But right now what we're waiting for is we could climb all the way down to 24 cents before seeing a pop to the upside right there. As well as, let's look at Bitcoin. And I told you guys this would be a fairly long episode. I do want to apologize for that, but there is a lot of information that I wanted to share with you guys. That's quite interesting to see that we have a Bybit Games advertisement on TradingView when I just got a package in the mail from Bybit Games wanting me to be a trade leader. So that's interesting. Very, very, very funny that that did just pop up right now. So very interesting that they are really trying to push this advertisement and actually make it to my YouTube video without me actually mentioning them. Otherwise, you can see that we are still within a very big bearish fractal right here. What this fractal means is that we are coming to a downtrend. We're in a downtrend. We're setting lower lows, higher lows. We're coming to a point where we hit a bottom. We're looking for a bottom. Then we'll eventually expect to see some sort of consolidation. We may trend all the way down to 8,300. I would be very surprised if we hit 8,000, but we could see an immediate retracement up to $9,000, $10,000 fairly quick. If we did per se fall to 8,000 and shot away up, we're hitting a 20% gain, and you can see what we've had is FOMO buying in right after that. So we could easily see a retestment all the way down to 8,000. See a moonshot all the way up, a 20% gain to $9,300, and then, see that FOMO buying in after and shoot us up even higher. But for right now, like I said, what I'm waiting for is this consolidation to happen. I'm waiting for a retracement back down to 30 on the RSI. We flatlined out once again, and I'm looking for a dip lower. When we start to head down lower, we match the 4-hour charts on the daily. That's when I'm anticipating to see some sort of reversal recovery, shooting the price up to higher levels. With that in mind, I will be buying long or shorting the coin. A lot of people are asking me how exactly to do this. It's fairly easy. When I do make the trade, I'll show you guys and I'll record myself doing it. It's fairly simple though. You're literally just setting the price that you want to buy at. You can click right here, type that in, or just tap on the price itself. You can see it changes right there. You can click over here, it'll set that lemon order right there. You enter the quantity, the amount of US dollars that you want to buy. You can see the amount that's available right here. And then it's as simple as clicking buy long or sell short, depending on which one you chose. That will then close, and then you'll open a trade up right here. Now you can leverage this by whatever percentage you want to do. And then you can see it'll pop up in positions. You'll have an open position right here that pops up. That can be closed at any time you want. When you notice the time, like if we buy long right now, we shoot all the way up to $10,000. When we're at $10,000, what I would do is you can see this close tab right here under what category it is. You would see the button pop up to close that contract. It's as simple as closing that position. It will close out that position, and you'll get cashed out in your accounts, in your wallet. Very simple. Definitely check out DueDEX though. It's the first link in the description. And obviously also check out my Patreon, guys. We're growing and we're doing quite well in anticipation for this next bull run. So if you haven't already, it's the second link in the description. Check this out as well. Sign up. We have 22 people right now. We're trying to hit 100. We're definitely taking some more care of this for all those who already know about my Patreon. There are limited spots remaining, so definitely check that out. But remember, guys, we're definitely putting some more interest into Patreon, growing this, guys. It's a way for you guys to not only get access to all the charts that I discuss, Litecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP. It's also a way to stay up to date in regards to what exactly I'm doing in terms of buying and selling crypto. Otherwise, to discuss Litecoin once again hitting a resistance at the top, not really much movement, and also Ethereum hitting a resistance on top of its high-low minimum moving average. Otherwise, guys, that's going to wrap up today's episode. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications. Remember, giveaway on Friday, every Friday. All you have to do to enter is comment hashtag CryptoTV down below. And hopefully you guys enjoyed today's episode. Let me know down in the comments what you think, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Peace.